Good morning, Creative Live. Welcome to Fashion Week. We are here to change things around a little bit. I was shooting a good friend of mine recently, and I was telling her about this amazing Creative Live audience, and she agreed to come and share some wonderful things with you. Yoanna is amazing. So on one of these photo shoots, I thought the picture was up, but I'll go back to that later on. We were talking about this and doing some great shots. Yoanna is from America's Next Top Model. She's one of my friends along with Tyra Banks, and we talked about this show. And Yoanna knows everything about the modeling world, and she's got a lot of information for you. So listen up, pay attention, take notes. Better yet, forget the notes, just buy the video. We have some great stuff for you. Yoanna, this is all you. If you need me, I'm here for you. This is Yoanna House. She's amazing. Pay attention, take notes, and dear, it's all you.
All right.
Welcome to Fashion Week.
Hi everyone, I'm Yoanna. Thank you for having me. I'm so pumped to be in Seattle and to actually give a real inside look into the modeling industry. Kind of going to be debunking the myths of what I learned from America's Next Top Model, the reality TV show, versus signing with a huge agency and kind of what that all entails, how to, work as a model, continue working, evolve as you age, because you can still work until you're 80 if you want to. I just wanted to say I'm just so amazed at the professionalism of Matthew. I met him in Los Angeles about almost 6 months ago, officially, and I've heard about him so much through Tyra, and he's got such a huge following, especially in the beauty world. He does the most incredible beauty shots, and so for anyone that's tuning in, not just models, we're really trying to gear this towards photographers who are trying to break into shooting fashion editorials, working with models, testing with models, building relationships with the agencies, or even if they're starting to submit editorials, which is what Matthew will probably touch on in the next coming days. How does that work? How to set up your teams? How to get a better access to working with models from the agencies, having light boxes sent over. What does that mean? Why do you get new faces that you don't want to work with? How do you get to work with the women's division? What else? Let's see. I'm also going to touch about headaches when you start working with models. What as a photographer you can kind of tell the girls your expectations. I'm going to talk about the various kinds of photographers as a model you'll be working with and how that can be frustrating, especially ones that are nonverbal, non-communicative, or very artistic. Sometimes they don't even want you to pose, and then you're just like, why am I here? But really, they're trying to get something out of you, just maybe not something so structured. So as a model, you need to really learn. Matthew, being so huge in the beauty industry, how do you pose for beauty campaigns, beauty shoots? That's super important. It's very different. How do you sell that emotion? How do you make that connection with the photographer, with the audience as a model? How do you look like sexy but not overly doing it? I see so many girls. I've been fortunate just this year alone to teach hundreds and hundreds of aspiring models, and so many mistakes that they end up doing is trying too hard, where it's a fine line between does she really want to be a model, or does she just want men to like her? So that's really important, because models in everyday life, they look like a model. However, they're not really seeking out that kind of attention, like notice me, notice me. They're very just everyday girls trying to make a living. They're hoping that they can, stay afloat in New York in the beginning and eventually thrive. And, you want to be able to invest in a home one day, and so you've got to think long term, how can I make this a career? And when do I start changing or evolving as a model? For instance, in the beginning, coming from Top Model, it was very high fashion. I got into TV hosting, and then I became a little more approachable, softer with my look. I had a baby. I understood who I was and how I wanted to be, because one thing is being told we want you to be this and edgy and short black hair, and after a while you're like, but that's not really me. Who am I? And to kind of work with the agency to create your brand and to create your image, which is super important, because if you can set yourself aside from all of the other girls on that board, you're going to have a much longer career. And I think Matthew kind of quoted, you don't want to copy anyone's work. Is that something you say? As a model, I can't tell you how many girls come in wanting to look like Giselle or Adriana Lima or be that girl. There is already an Adriana. You'll never be her. You know, you've got to be the best form of yourself, and what can you offer? We're going to touch on the various markets of modeling, from commercial, lifestyle, high fashion, catalog. Can you be all of them? Are you just going to be limited? To try to find to be multidimensional is always a plus. We're going to get into signing with an agency, what their expectations of you are, contracts, a mother agency versus a regional agency, or when you get sent abroad, how does that work? We're going to be touching on your skin, how to take care of your body, how to keep a lean frame, what are the expectations if you're getting into runway, and also about social media sites, how to promote yourself in a very safe way. I can't tell you how many girls have come and they're on these, you know, kind of seedy, suspicious social media sites looking to be photographed by photographers that they don't know anything about. They've never met them. The agency's probably never gonna, you know who these people are. So you wanna make sure you're not getting pulled into just some random guy's house who wants to shoot you because he thinks you're hot. So really, it's about creating a book that will be strong. If you are gonna test with these people, letting someone know that you're going over there. What are his expectations of you? Are you gonna have to take off your top and wear, you know, lime green underwear behind a purple background? You know, I've seen pictures and like, why would you go and, you know, do this to yourself? What a waste of a day, and how dangerous at 17 to be in some random man's house. You know, I can't even go there. I just don't get it. But anyway, we're also going to be talking about etiquette on a set. I can't tell you how many times models don't even know how to act on a set. They're on their phone, they're talking about their boyfriend and how he was cheating with your best friend, and then, you know, you were talking about the club promoter or whatever. There's a certain etiquette on set, when to answer your phone, you know, and when to let it know, when you should break for eating, because a lot of the makeup artists will kind of want you to wait. And there's just like certain things that I think along the way I had to learn. What to pack if you're going to be going in as a model, if you're going to be doing a catalog shoot, what you should have in your handbag ready to go. There should be an expectation you should already know. No one should say like, oh, she forgot to bring this, didn't she know? They're never going to tell you, bring this. You should just already know. So hopefully with this course, you guys will gain access to what to pack when you're modeling and what to bring along. I'm really excited because we're going to have some amazing phone calls, one from Paragon, which is a great agency in New York. It's more of a boutique agency, which I always try to promote, because I feel like when you're with a boutique agency, you probably will get a little more work because it's a smaller group of bookers and the board's not so big. I was with IMG for numerous years. Now I'm with IMG in certain divisions, and I'm with like 5 other agencies, and it works for me because they're for different regions. And I'm going to tell you why that's important, because you might not, when it's slow in Miami, guess what? The market in Chicago is picking up, or the market in LA is picking up. How do I get there? Or when you're going overseas, what is your book supposed to look like? You know, I have a Mexican agency. What are their expectations of what their clients want versus LA, versus New York, Chicago, Paris, Milan? So we're going to be talking to the Paragon agency, the director. He was with the top modeling agencies in New York, and he opened this agency, and he's going to tell you guys what to expect when you sign, what to expect when you start testing, how they make your portfolio, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. So that'll be really great. And then I've got another call from an amazing photographer, David Benolio, who's in Miami. He's got a huge following right now on Facebook, and he started out testing and just working as a test photographer. And he just grew his social media following, his publications, from creating these testing submission editorials. And he submitted them, come up with these projects. So it's still important, even if you're a working photographer. Matthew and I were discussing how important it is to still be testing, to be artistic, And I mean, he's going to touch up on that, and just kind of David's career and how it's launched, and what the expectations of the agencies are from him as a photographer in the Miami market, Paris market, how the agencies want him to shoot the girls, the challenges he faces when he's shooting these girls. And a lot of times you're going to be like, wow, I never thought a photographer saw me that way. They might think that you being shy and quiet is you being aloof and not knowing what you're doing. So it's important once, yes?
Just a quick question about, for those of us who are so new to this world,
Yeah.
What is testing?
Okay, so testing, this is super, super important. When you start with an agency or are looking to break into the modeling industry, testing is I guess, Matthew, how would you, it's a way of getting your image taken but seeing the most perfect natural form of yourself. It's not very styled, there's not a lot of makeup, there's not a lot of involvement with location and set designs and all of that. And that's what an agency will set you up to do, to see how does this girl look naturally. Because when a client wants to see you, they don't want to see this with the airplane, the eyeliner, the dog. They want to see what is Yoanna. And so I'm going to show you pictures of sample testings from when I first signed with IMG Models to testing after I had my son, because that totally shifted and evolved how I was supposed to, you know, kind of show myself to the world. Now I'm a woman, look at me. So, but Matthew, how would you describe a test?
A test is basically that period where the photographer comes and gets together for a model, and together they make amazing images. It's not a job. This is photographer getting to showcase you at your best, to sell you to clients, potential clients. So you're doing beauty, you're doing fashion, you're doing editorial. It's a photographer and model showcasing you, working to get better and better and better so you can get those big campaigns. That's what a test is all about.
Thank you.
And it's great because a lot of times the tests, if they're really awesome photographers and this is something they're doing on the side and they have a relationship with the agency, those images will make your book. And a lot of times a client might not even know it's a test. They might think it's a story or a job, which is great because then you're showing that you've got, not only do you have your testing when you're starting out, eventually you'll get your published images, your tear sheets is what they call them. If you're lucky to get campaigns, and that'll get thrown in there. And the more your book has, that's just kind of, I think, multi-dimensional, the more your rate goes up, the more jobs you'll get booked on, the more castings you'll get called to. So testing is definitely important.